This podcast is for a mature audience and may be viewed as inappropriate or insensitive to some. Listener discretion is advised. The intention is to share conversation of like and unlike-minded individuals as they try to be the best them they can be in a life full of challenges, searching for love, acceptance, and positivity. Call 669-241-1422 and share yourself or catch up with SweetBaby Jay for an anonymous face-to-face interview. Feel free to call in with questions, stories, thoughts, or anything you would love to talk about and share. Nothing is off the table when talking sweet with SweetBaby Jay at 669-241-1422.
Ladies and gents and ladies, once again, as always, you are here talking sweet with SweetBaby Jay. It's always a no-face, no-case scenario where you have the opportunity to share or not your identity. Young lady, would you like to share your name or not?
My name is Helga.
Sounds dope. So what's going on, young lady? How's everything in your life these days?
Things are good, moving forward.
Moving forward, things are good?
Things are good, keeping it moving forward.
Keeping it moving forward. That's a great way to be living with a very positive mindset, sounds like. Is that the case?
That is the case.
Dope. Has that always been the case?
No, that has not always been the case.
Well, let's talk about it. What is the part of your journey that you're going to talk about with us today?
The part of my journey I'm going to talk about is about narcissism.
Are you a confessed narcissist? Are you coming out the closet?
Actually, no. I was a victim of a narcissist and of narcissism. So I do have a lot of experience, I can say, in that department.
When you say a victim of a narcissist, what exactly do you mean?
A narcissist is pretty much, it's a person who will emotionally and psychologically break you down. It's a person that pretty much, it's about control. It is about them, always about them. And it's always about them being the victim. And it's always self-projecting their insecurities. It's a very deep level of insecurity. Some people like to say, as they're coming out now, saying, well, it's a disorder. It's a sickness. It's not. Anything that has a willful intent, a pre-thought intent, a malicious intent is not a disorder. It is not a sickness.
Wow. So I literally just looked up narcissistic personality disorder, a disorder in which a person has an inflated sense of self-importance. Wow.
Yeah.
Is that what you dealt with?
Yes.
Who was this? Was this a parent, a spouse, or a child?
It was an ex-spouse. And then, of course, it's not just ex-spouses. It's not just husbands and wives. It could be friends. It could be family members. It could even be work situation, work coworkers, bosses.
So this narcissistic personality, what you're saying is this is definitely, it's not something that we just see in the news or, you know, everyone said that our former President Trump was a narcissist.
He is.
But it's not just from that sense. There's a lot of people out there in society, and you don't have to be famous to be a narcissist.
No, you don't. And what's starting to happen now is that it is now starting all to come into the surface. They're starting to become more realization. People are speaking up more about it. People that have been victims of narcissists are speaking up about it. And it goes into just not in the personal aspect, the friendship, but they bring it into the courtroom. They bring it into the legal terms. So when you're going through a divorce, a lot of people say you really get to see who that person is. So there's a lot of narcissism that happens during divorce.
Are you divorced?
I am.
Okay. And these narcissistic ways really presented themselves throughout the divorce?
It did. It started really presenting itself in the marriage. At the time, it really started to come out when I got pregnant with my daughter. And it's kind of when the mask was really starting to come out and things were just starting to happen. And you see the personalities of the person. And it became even more prevalent once we moved to Florida. And then it was just full blown when I had filed for divorce.
Is it possible that these narcissistic ways were there while dating, that you just didn't see it?
Absolutely. There's a form that narcissists like to do during that time period is they call it love bombing.
Oh.
And the love bombing is, it's kind of like they say all the right things.
They shower you.
They shower you. And there's all this attention. And it's a way of luring you in. It's a way of emotionally and psychologically getting you wrapped up.
That was the case for you.
That was the case.
You didn't see anything that was like, whoa, this is a red flag. Did you see this? Maybe there was some narcissism there, but you saw it as maybe some machismo, or he's confident or anything like that?
I wouldn't say that I saw it as machismo. I would say probably it was him playing it as a way of, oh, I need love, or I haven't had this, and, you know, my family treated me this way. It's putting themselves in this victim role of like, they lacked. So the other person starts to do is to like, oh, I can help you. I can give you the love. I can show you this. I can help you out of it. So, and that's what a lot of them do, is they play this victim role to kind of get people to believe them, to kind of get people to believe their really twisted, delusional world.
How did it really present itself throughout the divorce that really made you say, yo, this is crazy?
The lies that he kept saying about me. He would lie about things, and him and his attorney would file motions against me in court. He tried to have me arrested. He tried to take full custody of my daughter. He tried to take away alimony, sale of the house, proceeds from me. And in this case, when a narcissist does that, when they keep taking you to court, it's legal abuse.
Because they know you can't afford it, or they just want to keep messing with your time?
But the point is, they want to, number one, they want to bankrupt you. Number two, they want to psychologically break you down and emotionally break you down. Remember, this is a person, if they know if they know who you are, they're going to know how to break you down. And I have to tell you, it was one of the hardest points, one of the hardest times of my life. There was the times where I was really questioning myself if this is real or not. The emotion that I went through, the highs and the lows, like I thought I'm going to go crazy. I thought at certain points that I was literally going to have a nervous breakdown because it just seemed like it was just never going to end.
Do you think that the goal was to break you?
Absolutely.
Do you feel broken?
I felt broken. I'm a survivor now. I am strong. I'm the strongest I ever have, mentally and emotionally, but it broke me. And it took for it to break me to be to the point that I am now, and to really realize and start seeing what it was, and then try and heal from that, because there's a whole healing process of that.
You guys have a child together?
Yes.
Did these narcissistic ways, did they impact your child? Or what I'm trying to say is that, was his actions, did he include the child into the actions, or did he try to influence, your child with words or
Absolutely.
Possibly try to provide things that he knew you couldn't afford and things like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They also they have this wonderful knack of getting people to believe their lies. So it was him like, look, she divorced me. She left me. She broke my heart. Oh my God. Like, how can she do this to me? Meanwhile, it was really the other way around. It was me who was like, I'm not going to stay in this relationship. I'm not going to stay in this marriage with a person who I saw that's where I really started seeing where he had his coworker fired. He went after his coworker and went up to the bosses and started telling them things and telling them lies and this was the guy that had sold us our house initially. And we had built such a great relationship with him. And then when we moved down here and he started working for the company, and now this salesperson was his coworker, and then he just started having issues with him, because that's where narcissists, when you don't do what they want or how they want you to do things, then all of a sudden now you're this target. And he went after this guy.
The guy was a threat, and he had him terminated.
And he had him terminated to the point where, and he was the top salesperson in the company. Everybody loved this guy. How did he manage to convince the bosses that let's fire this guy? So what he kept, and I remember him coming and saying to me, oh, he did this, he did that. And I said, okay. I said, I don't understand. And he goes, I'm going to get him fired. I remember him saying those words to me. And I said to him, you don't mess with a person's livelihood. You don't do that to someone. And he didn't stop until he got that. And I'll never forget the phone call that I received, and I received it from the sales guy. He goes, he's like, they gave me an option. They gave me an option either to resign or they were going to fire me. Wow. And the thing that stuck to me the most was when he said to me that he was sitting there in the office, and the ex-husband, I got to stop saying the ex-husband, walked in from the back, opened up the door and goes, "Is it done yet?"
Oh, word?
Word. And
Wow.
said, "Is it done yet?"
Wow.
And then he did the same thing to his project manager over a thing because now the company couldn't pay overtime at that moment. So he had the guy demoted and sent to another community.
Get out.
No.
So this guy really, well, let me not just put the target on his back, but this personality, this narcissistic personality is one in which once they have you in their hairs, there's no stop until they get what they want.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
So how do you deal with that, being that you're divorced from him, and I'm pretty sure you guys have a child? There are things that you have that he might want. How do you entertain? How do you dance around this entanglement?
Well, one thing is I know that there are things that will trigger. If something happens in his day or something, whatever, I know that there are triggers because I'll get a text message from him on something and he'll try to come up with some ridiculous thing and pretty much I just ignore it.
He still texts you?
He texts me with just ridiculous stuff because I lost my house. I lost alimony. I lost everything. I had to file for bankruptcy because of the divorce and everything, and that's fine.
That's what he wanted.
That's what he wanted. But in the end, he didn't get 1 cent himself either.
How is that if he got the house and everything?
Well, because I had to file for bankruptcy. So because I had to file for bankruptcy, my half of the house was now under bankruptcy.
Oh.
So, and
Tell me how this works. I don't know. Maybe there's somebody out there getting divorced that might need some. So how does that work? That your house, half of the house was on bankruptcy.
right. So because the house was in both of our names and we had both put in equal share into the house, because of the divorce, I had to file for bankruptcy. That there was nothing else. There was nothing else I could do. My half of that house now is now under bankruptcy, which means now that the bankruptcy court can now sell that half of my house. They're now in control of my part of the house, and it's going to be used to pay off whatever debts or things that I have, whatever proceeds from the house.
But they don't cut the house in half. So how does that work?
It's because we're going through a divorce.
So the house had to be sold?
The house had to be sold, yes.
Wow. That must have pissed him off some more.
Oh, it did. He filed a $80,000 claim on my bankruptcy to try to get $80,000 from me, which none of it was even valid. And
But if you file for bankruptcy, where would the $80,000 come from?
it would come from the sale of the proceeds of the house.
Ah.
From the sale of the proceeds of the house. So he tried to put an $80,000 claim in there saying that I owed him this money. And when the bankruptcy trustee was like, okay, well, let's see. When I see the documentation of the $80,000, let's see what this $80,000, he had nothing to come up with.
He was just pulling a rabbit. You know, I've seen somebody do all this kind of stuff. I think he was a president. You know, head narcissist. You really said, you know, they're after me. They're not fair.
There you go.
They don't do what they're doing to me to others. I've never seen anything like this.
Exactly. This is the same thing. This was the same thing. He was going around telling people that I did this to him, that, oh my God, how can she do this to me? I'm such a good father. I was such a great husband. Well, if you were such a great husband, why would I divorce you in the first place?
What do you think was his biggest downfalls as a husband and a father?
As a husband, the way he spoke to me, the way that he treated me. It went from being this nice person to all of a sudden, like, I couldn't say one word because he would just be like right in my face.
Literally in your face?
Literally in like my face, saying like, don't talk to me. And there was just this lack of any emotion, any lack of empathy. There was the fact that he would go around and tell people things that weren't true. And then he would make decisions with himself, and not even include me. He would believe a stranger over me. And it was just other people always came before. And he would be very easily influenced.
Your interest was not priority.
It was not a priority. It was not.
Not the way that you'd make a wife feel.
No.
When you guys are no longer an item.
No.
Your interest matters none. But being that you guys have a child, the interest of the child does that take any priority for him?
No, the child is more of a pawn. The child is more of a form of a control, because the only thing I ever wanted was my child. For me, it was like, you can have the house, you can have the money, you can have all of the material things. That's what you want, you can have it. I don't care. That means nothing to me. Money, you lose it, you make it like that. You make it back again. A house, big deal. I lose this one, I can get another one. Do you know what I mean? But he knew that was the most important thing to me.
So a narcissist knows how to get to your core.
Yes, they know how to get to your core. And at the moment right now, the majority is women that are dealing with this. There are men as well too, but the majority are women. I mean, the things that a narcissist will go through to just get their way, to try to destroy a person. I remember when I had told him I was filing for divorce, I remember sitting across the table from him and he said to me, I'm going to make sure that you don't get anything, and I'm going to make your life miserable.
So sweet.
Right?
I mean, to even treat another human being that way.
Right.
Is just nasty.
It is.
Disgusting. Because for me personally, one would have to say, would I want to be treated like that? But I guess there's a demand of, this is how you're going to treat me. There's no question on how another human being should treat a human being. Am I correct in saying that?
Right. Especially someone who you claimed you loved, especially someone who is the mother of your child. I remember saying, look, I would like for us to be friends because we have a child together. I'm not expecting us to be the best of buddies, but at least let's be friends. Let's co-parent together. And I'm willing to forgive everything that went on in the marriage. And then I get that response and it's like, okay. And then...
But there's something good in that. At least you know where you stand.
At least I knew where I stand, but I had no idea. I had no idea what was coming at me. I had no idea what I was going to go through. The fact that to lie in court, to file motions based on lies, to have me put in jail, that can, number one, destroy my reputation.
Your career.
My career.
Livelihood, everything.
My livelihood, everything.
So he was trying to make sure that you were not able to provide for your own daughter.
Absolutely. The whole plot of it was, let's have her get arrested, go to jail. Then I get full custody of the child. And then I get all the proceeds from the sale of the house. And then that was it. And then it's like, she'll have a record. She won't be able to. And it's like, it's a form of control. They need to have this control. It's what fuels them.
Do you think that he was doing all of this with the hope that you would come back?
Yes. In that sick, delusional mind of a narcissist, it's like, if I do all these things, you know what? I'm going to make her feel it so bad that she's going to come back to me begging. And I didn't. He
was trying to, what do they call it? Bronco busting? He was trying to bronco bust you? Ride you till you started riding the way he wants? Sheesh, that's crazy. I mean, the mind of a narcissist, you can almost see the playbook, but there's nothing you can do about it.
If you stand up, it's about standing up. And I feel really, when I read about these other women, when I read about other men that are going through it, and we're talking, they're 10, 12, 15, 20 years of marriage.
Swallowing a lot of ish.
Swallowing a lot of it and questioning their own sanity, which was what happened to me. I was questioning my own sanity. It was just like, oh my God, like it's like, what's going on? What's happening? And emotionally, you're trying to keep yourself in control, but it's hard because they just keep coming at you.
What I've come to find out is that with that same personality, that they will talk a false story into reality.
Yes,
like
they will.
Make it everyone's false but their own.
Exactly.
I have really come to see that over the years, dealing with different personalities of the sort, but standing firm and being firm to that person, like, yo, you cannot talk yourself into a reality is reality. Mm-hmm. You can't talk yourself into reality. But with doing that also, I believe you also have to know that doesn't mean that person's ever going to come around. They may very well go to their grave with that mindset.
Yeah.
And you just do your best.
That's the best thing, is my advice to anybody who starts seeing that. And you start seeing the triggers. You start seeing the self-projection. That's the first thing. They'll self-projecting their insecurities upon you. Then there's the gaslighting, where it's like, you're crazy. Oh, you're insane. Oh, you're sensitive. Oh, you're lying. And then it's, if they know that you're weak, that's when they'll come in. If they know that you're strong, yeah, good luck. He's threatened court to me so many times. I'm taking you to court. I'm going to take you to court. And we're divorced. And I'm like, go ahead. What do you have? What are you going to take me to court for?
Did you go to counseling or any type of counseling for this, dealing with not just, I guess, divorce counseling, but any type of counseling or therapy for just dealing with the narcissist?
I did. I think that was probably one of the best things that I could have done, because I was at such a point. Just dealing with this, and then having to see the fact that he's taking my daughter half of the time, and I can see what he was trying to do to my kid, and it's just like, hands off. And there is this sense of like, what can I do? And of course, I didn't know the law like I know it now.
Unfortunate way how you had to learn it, right?
You have to learn it, you know? So I'll never forget it. I was going down Curry Ford Road, and there was a sign that said free counseling. And I called the number, and I made an appointment, and
it said free counseling. It didn't say what type of counseling.
It was spiritual and psychological. And
they had counseling specifically for dealing with a narcissist, or the counseling just knew how to deal with that type of personality?
No, it was really more with helping me be able to deal with it and be able to get through. Because what people don't understand, when you are abused, and it is a form of abuse.
100%.
It is a form of abuse. When you go through an abuse of a narcissism, it breaks down your self-esteem. It breaks down who you are. You know, you start thinking that you're the one that has problems, that you're the one that's got issues. What did I do wrong?
And you had to walk on eggshells.
And walking on eggshells. And then you're like in this crazed state where you're just like, you don't know whether you're coming or you're going. And it's almost like you're afraid. It's psychologically mostly plays on you where you're not who you used to be. So it wasn't for going to deal with it was going to deal with me and how I was going to get me back and get stronger and know how to deal. It leaves effects on you.
One thing that I'm going to have to say, that my experience is when someone forces you to watch the movie of life and rewind and play it again, you start picking it apart. Like, wow, I didn't see. How could I not have seen that?
Yes.
Why did I put up with that? And you start doubting yourself, like, I should have maneuvered differently from back then.
Yes.
And this is not just with a spouse. It could be with a coworker. It could be with a friend.
Absolutely.
It can be with a sibling. There's so many different ways of dealing with this type of personality. And often these people, I think, are loved by many because they do what it takes to be loved by many, so that the ones closest to them, have to walk on eggshells. And those are the ones... You know, they say that the ones closest to you, your friends that know everything about you, are the ones that can hurt you the easiest.
Oh, absolutely.
And you had a narcissist very close to you.
He was very close to me.
I mean, close enough to make a child. Gosh, dang, that's pretty close.
Well, I mean, you know, we're married. But, you know, I've had people say to me the very thing that you're just saying. It's like, oh, didn't you see this? How did you marry him? Oh, next time you should make better choices. And that really burns me. It really, really burns me when somebody says that, because it's like, you know what? You think that I chose this path for myself? Do you think that I wanted to go through this? Do you think that I wanted someone to treat me this way? No, I didn't. Had I known that this was the type of person that they were going to be, had I known that this is what I was going to go through, I would have never married that person. I never would have gotten involved with that person.
Would this be people that knew you both mutually, or...
No, this is even people, you know, coming across like just other attorneys and things like that. Oh, next time you should make better choices. And I'm just like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? So what are you trying to say? That I literally knew that this person was a narcissist and that this person was going to treat me this way, and I just decided, yeah, this is how I love to be treated. This is why I'm going to marry this person, because I like to be treated like shit.
Well, they call it a wolf in sheep's clothing for a reason.
And you know what? And that's an insult to wolves, because wolves are actually really wonderful animals. They really are.
Really?
They are. If you really study, a wolf is very loyal. Wolves are very loyal. They're very strong. They take care of their pack. That is not a narcissist.
Oh, okay.
That is not a narcissist, and that is not a person. Wolves are not betrayers. So when someone says a wolf in sheep's clothing, it's like, I have a problem with that, because it's like they're not that type of an animal. Obviously, if you're going to look at nature, you know, there's the natural progression of what nature is, animals surviving and what it is in the cycle of life.
Maybe a hyena? Something that would eat anything, just destroy anything while laughing.
Exactly, right?
Wow. This is just wow. I mean, this is a conversation, one that I never thought that I'd be having, but it's also very interesting to hear that there is not only
they want to call it a disorder.
Disorder.
I don't believe it to be a disorder.
Maybe it is a disorder, because are people born like this?
No.
Is this something that they are raised to? Like, I really don't know, but it is a disorder if you function with other human beings in a way that's harmful, that's hurtful to others.
I see a disorder, something that is within you, that obviously that's something that you can't control, and you need medication or something to help it. But when we're talking about narcissism, that is not a disorder that you have no control over. You know exactly what you're doing to other people. You have the intent, you make the plan. You will not stop until you see that person. Until you see that person destroyed, until you see that person, till you have the upper hand on the other person. Who functions in life that way? That's not a disorder. Okay. Here's the interesting thing. This particular person is now, because now they have nothing else to try to come after me or try to do anything. Now they have filed a fraudulent lawsuit against someone else.
They filed a fraudulent lawsuit against someone else, someone that's close to you?
No. Not someone that's close to me. But
so this person really is, why are they coming after me? Why me? Why this is what so they're not only gone after others to get them terminated, tried to make your life miserable, but on top of that, now they're going after someone else as a fraudulent
lawsuit. And he's trying to say that he suffered all these injuries, which is a complete lie, because now he's trying to get money from this other person. So now he's trying to destroy somebody else's life.
Was this an accident or?
It wasn't even an accident. A bump on the back is not an accident.
A bump on the back?
On the back of the car.
Oh, so somebody, he was lightly rear-ended.
Lightly rear-ended, which was caused by him. And apparently the person, I guess they tried to work it out or something. And I guess the person didn't do what he wanted. So now he has filed a fraudulent lawsuit and has auto negligence and has lied and said that he suffered all these hip injuries. He was hospitalized. He lost his job because of it. He loses enjoyment of life. All these things. Meanwhile, he's jumping out of a plane.
Oh, well, all that person has to do is get that video, because this is very popular, especially in this good state of Florida. I see all these lawyers with, this lawyer got me $890,000. I'm like, how? Like, what does it take? Sheesh, sign me up. I need $890,000. Gosh dang. But you sell your soul when you do some of these things.
And the thing is, like,
or you're soulless.
You're soulless. You're soulless. Selling your soul, there's a difference. If you're going to sell your soul to get something, right? I'm going to sell my soul for fame. I'm going to sell my soul for politics. I'm going to sell my soul for this. You're making a bargain. You're selling something for something. When you don't have a soul, you don't care. You have no remorse. You have no empathy. You have no regard for another person's life. You don't care. You don't care what the outcome or how this person's going to suffer. You don't care how it's going to affect them.
You only care about yourself.
You only care about yourself.
I'm going to end it on that note, because I think people just need to let that sit for a little bit about not having a soul.
Right.
You just don't give a damn. Ladies and gents and ladies, you are here talking sweet with SweetBaby Jay. As always, it's a no face, no case scenario. But today we had Halger, and we talked about narcissism. You may know someone. You may have been in a relationship with someone. You may have worked with someone. This may be a brother or a sister. It doesn't make it any less painful to deal with someone that just maneuvers as if they have no soul. Well, good luck to you all. Get through it one way or another. And we out.
That's about it.